What caught you off guard the most about adulthood? What surprised you?
Yeah, we all think that we're adaptive to change.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're not a dinosaur. We know exactly how to adapt and change. We say it in the business all the time, right?
Yeah.
But there are things that we get comfortable with.
What the world needs versus the career options that were out there were pretty aligned. People fell ill, they need doctors. People need to buy a house, there's realtors. People would get into legal disputes, they need lawyers.
Yeah.
Whereas now, we've delved into the wants of the world. And so people want to be entertained, so you create entertainers. People are consumed by entertainment, so you've got social media influencers, you've got... And then corporations have taken advantage of this and started leveraging that for advertising.
Yeah.
And so that's a career option, and that's what... It doesn't just affect the people who go into that career, it's the people consuming the media. So we're more influenced, we're more taxed, we're under more legal constraints than ever. And just navigating that?
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
But on the same token, a more complex world is more interesting.
Before we start this episode, I'd just kindly ask that if you're watching this on YouTube, just hit the subscribe or the like button. And if you're watching this on Spotify, then please just give us a rating, an honest rating. If you like it, give us a good one. If you don't like it, give us a bad one. I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Have you heard about the Bristol zookeeper car park guy?
No?
I didn't. I heard about this years ago, and I thought it was just a joke, but it turns out there might be a bit of truth to this.
Okay.
So Bristol Zoo has a car park, obviously, and they charge £1 for cars and £5 for coaches.
Okay.
For years, this happened, and basically the attendant, same attendant, lovely old chap, just didn't turn up to work one day. So Bristol Zoo was like, "Oh well, we better call the council and get them to send in a replacement." And the council was like, "What are you talking about? We don't employ people and send them to your zoo. Are you mad?" And they were like, "Oh, okay." And they checked their payroll. There's nobody on there. So for 30 plus years, a guy just turned up to a car park and went, "That'll be £1, please." They reckon he amassed over 2.4 million.
So, hold on. Wow.
I know. It's entrepreneurship at its finest.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, for how long?
So they reckon over 30 years.
And no one questioned this guy.
No, he's just a really lovely, chatty old man.
Yeah.
Who just used to sit there and take money off people. It's the friendliest mugging I've ever heard of.
And he's fine.
No, I think somebody pressed charges.
Oh.
But I don't know if anything happened.
People just got to ruin someone's
I know.
craft. Yeah.
But this was years and years ago. So I think it happened.
So Bristol Zoo's car park is the council's car park? Or it's Bristol Zoo's car park?
So when they called the council, they were like, "No, it's private property. What are you talking about?" I love this, yeah. So I heard this on Reddit, and it came up on my Instagram again last night.
Did anyone find out why he took a day off?
Yeah.
Most expensive day off.
I think he just retired. Yeah. I think he was like, "I've made my money now."
It's hilarious. I've actually been to that car park, but I hope I haven't given them any more money. Yeah. It's very good. It's very nice zoo.
Today's episode of Director's Debrief, we're going to be talking about the burdens of adulthood.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about like moving on from young adulthood, which is a topic Harvey came up with. I think it's, that feeling of I'm at university, I don't have to think too much about life.
Yeah.
To you have to buy your own, hand soap and toilet paper.
Yeah. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. I thought before graduating into adulthood or going through that process that, yeah, you know what? A few expenses, I can manage them. A bit of water, a bit of electricity. Although that's through the roof.
Yeah.
A bit of this, bit of that. But I'm taken aback by how much leaves your account.
Yeah.
Just to live.
It's alarming. Funnily enough, that noise that I'm about to silence is an email from British Gas.
Okay, yeah, lovely. Yeah, don't ignore it.
Yeah.
You don't need gas, it's summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just alarmed. Like, people say, "Oh yeah, but you don't need internet." You do. To live where you want to be, like a decent life in the UK, which is where we are.
Yeah.
You just have to spend a certain amount to live. And I think that caught me by surprise.
That number's astronomical as well. And I would also like to point out that I haven't reached like optimum adulthood. Like, I feel like you're a better adult than me. No, I'm going to prove it.
Okay, go.
When was the last time you went to a dentist?
Yeah, a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Exactly.
A month ago, yeah.
I haven't been to the dentist since...
Yeah, but I learned my lesson the hard way. But sorry.
What's the longest gap you've been without seeing a dentist?
A couple of years, I'm sure, at uni or something, yeah.
Yeah, mine's been since 2013. I've just been holding out hope that I'm okay.
But do you not like feel... yeah, but I'm a bit weird. Like, I like getting checked up on like certain things. Like, I'll do a full MOT on my body just so I know everything's good. I don't know why I do that.
As you've recently learned about me, no, I like to leave things and get really anxious about it. Like, like, what was that twitch? What have I got? What was it? What was I worried about?
This was funny. We can talk about it now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so hey there. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. I know what we're talking about at the moment. We go through a lot of different topics, but please don't forget to like, subscribe, do what you can do, and comment on what you want to hear about next. We do make some good conversation at some point, so we love to talk about what you'd be interested in. Cheers. Sam is the most paranoid, least paranoid person ever. Like, you do not strike me. You are not this person that you've been over the last month or
changed.
Two, right? Something's changed, and it's okay, Sam.
Okay.
It just caught me off guard, and
me off guard.
Yeah, I thought you were joking because you do it with a slight smile, but I think it's an anxious smile of like, really help me.
It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah. So where did it start, Sam?
I actually haven't told my sister this.
Okay.
So this is the first place she's going to find out.
Okay.
But we were helping her move. She was stripping out her old bathroom because she's renovating a flat. And we were taking some stuff to the skip. So I just grabbed a lump of wood and I threw it. I hadn't noticed, but a nail had stabbed through me.
Yeah.
This flat hasn't been...
How much did it stab through you?
I'm not willing to admit how little it stabbed me, but do with that...
Are we talking a grade?
Huh? No, there was a sizable amount of blood.
Okay.
Right? So, but again, we're not talking about like, it wasn't like the nail wasn't sticking out of my finger.
Okay.
I'm actually downplaying this a bit. It was, like...
It was deep.
It was a pretty deep cut.
Okay.
And it was a very rusty nail. And from watching Dr. House, I've seen that, whenever somebody gets things, they're like, oh, I got to get my tetanus shot.
Yeah.
And my sister brought it up. She was like, we should probably go see somebody to get you a tetanus shot. Because she saw the injury and the blood and stuff like that.
The nail.
And the nail, and it was from a bathroom. So I just got so worked up in my head, but I was also really reluctant to go get it checked out.
Yeah.
So I thought tetanus was a tiny thing. I thought tetanus was like, I'm a young man in the peak of my fitness. Like I was like, my body can take this, whatever tetanus is. And then I Googled tetanus. I Googled it then and there as well. And I told, my sister said, do you want to go see somebody? I was like, it'll be fine. And then just quickly like, tetanus, whatever. But the tab stayed open. So later that night, I was like scrolling through my phone and I was like, oh my God, I should go see somebody. And then I just didn't. And 3 days passed.
All right. Why did you not?
Just because of the whole effort of going to see somebody. You either have to book an appointment or go to a clinic. And then in my mind, this is going to sound so dumb, but does every like hospital just have tetanus shots?
Probably.
You reckon? Because think of how many diseases there are in the world.
But I'm sure if you went somewhere and they identified you had tetanus, they're not going to be like, oh, sorry, we don't have any. Like, they'll figure out what they're going to do, right?
Yeah, that I didn't think of. That's really quite smart, actually.
I'm just like, they're not going to leave you. Yeah. Hopefully.
I didn't think that bit through.
Okay.
And I was like, what are the chances this is so dumb. What are the chances I end up at a hospital with, a spare tetanus shot hanging around? Just a series of very dumb thoughts. And then I read if you don't get it treated by the third day, you're pretty much screwed. And
so what did you do for the next 2 days?
Just freaked out, really. Yeah. No, not even freaked out. I kept forgetting. And then like, you would go for a sip and then like of coffee and then your like mouth clicks and you're like, it started. I've got tetanus. For those who don't know, tetanus is also called lockjaw.
Okay.
And it's essentially this horrible disease that thankfully we eradicated years ago. But if you get tetanus, your mouth and like your ingestion mechanisms as a body just stop working. And so you just, all of this freezes and you can't consume anything. Apart from maybe Huel.
So why maybe it was for the better. Why did you, why does tetanus travel by rusty nails?
it is a bacteria or virus that it basically originates from like excrement, I think. And so it's quite common amongst like, I think farmers who are working out in the field, they stand on a nail where a horse might have taken a dump or something like that.
And I figured how it transmits from excrement to your body.
Exactly.
To get through.
Yeah, so it just needs to penetrate your skin and get into your blood work. And I was like, well, this piece of wood was from an old toilet where I'm sure a horse has taken a dump, in a third floor flat. Yeah,
I'm just amazed because you've just given me a great explanation, which shows me how deep down the rabbit hole you went.
Oh, it was deep.
Yeah. I remember those. I was partly there through the 3 days of you stressing, or more actually, because even after the third day, you were still like,
because you don't find out till like day 11.
Yeah,
and then even then, it's like up to 30 days. I don't even know if I'm in the clear now, dude. Like I've just kind of forgotten about it. I've had bigger stresses to worry about.
Which, no,
we're not talking about that. We're not talking about
I know about those. So, looking back, that seems quite funny because since then you've had a few concerns.
And that's put my mind at ease. Because I just think, like, whatever I'm worried about now, something big is around the corner.
Right, okay.
Something else is about to ruin your day, so why worry about this one?
Yeah, such a great way.
I know.
This is adulting right there.
Yeah.
So going back to the dentist.
Yeah.
My reasoning for going sooner is not from adulting, this is the right thing to do. It's from scar tissue of what happens when you don't nip it in the bud early. Because I've been there, done that, and like things escalate.
Of course.
So I don't know. It could be as little as not getting a filling for your tooth, where you've got a little bit of an issue and it can get infected or whatever, and things can escalate.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've not gotten to that point much, but it's happened, and it's about nipping that in the bud early and that's why I will book a dentist appointment probably more than I need to, just because I'm terrified of something there.
So that's why I think you're a better adult.
No, I think that's just being an adult because you've seen stuff. It's like, why does a kid just like run around and like have no care for hitting its head? It's not because it's a kid. It's because it's not had the pain.
Not hit its head yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing, though, because I think every time I would go to the dentist, everybody used to dread the dentist as a kid. And I didn't particularly mind it because they'd just look and go, yeah, whatever. Like, they didn't... Like, I've never had a filling.
Yeah.
I might have... Maybe I should have, but...
No. I mean,
no dentist has ever told me I need a filling.
Yeah, you're fine. You're in the clear. When did you last go?
Yeah, but probably about... No, last time I went for a routine checkup was 2013. And then I had a wisdom tooth just giving me horrible pain Christmas one year. So everywhere was shut. I think I had to pay like £100 for someone to look at me and just blast it with some water and go, you're fine. I think something got in there or some sort of food and it was just getting bad. But it didn't even get infected.
Do you not like the feeling? Because it's essentially... it's essentially like a deep clean, right? Like that's the best thing. A scale and polish is like the nicest feeling.
But when do you get the time?
Okay. We have a dentist down the road.
Yeah.
They charge £26 for an NHS appointment.
Really?
And it took me 10 minutes. It takes me 5 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
The appointment is less than 10 minutes and I'm out.
Will you show your dentist details?
Yes, I will. Okay. Of course I will.
All right, I'll set it up.
It's very hard to get an NHS dentist, but if you pull some strings, you can get one. Okay. And they are excellent.
Okay, cool.
And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even if they don't take you as an NHS appointment... Yeah. A private appointment.
Oh, so
crazy.
Okay, so I can't just go in and say, I'll give you some money, just look at my tooth.
Yeah, so the NHS appointment is a set amount. Yeah. But most likely they'll take a private appointment and it's just...
This is how little I know about life, man.
Mate, honestly, it's the best thing.
Yeah.
It's just a nice feeling and you just feel like one thing that you just drive into work.
Yeah.
Go get it done.
All right, I'll do it. Yeah. What caught you off guard the most about adulthood? What surprised you?
How everyone... Like, you beg for people leaving you to it, and then one day they just do.
They just do.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Like, when you're 16, 17, 18, even up to sort of 21, to be honest, as a kid, you're like, my parents are still on top of me. They're still checking on stuff. I just need a bit of my own, me time. Yeah. And, like, leave me to it. I can figure it out on my own. And then... one day they do.
Yeah, and you're like, where is everybody?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. You want me to take care of all of this?
Yeah. There's a defining moment where I remember I'm no longer a kid. And annoyingly, it happened when I was like 15. there's a Shell petrol station around the corner from my mum's house, and it's on the way to the park. So whenever I'd go to the park with my friends to play basketball or whatever, I would, sometimes I'd like really need to pee as a kid.
Right.
So I'd go into this Shell and I'd say, hey, I'm sorry, do you mind if I use your toilet? And they'd always let me. They'd see some young innocent kid and they'd let me go to the toilet. And then one time I went in when I was like 14, 15. And they just said, sorry, no. I said, do you have a toilet? And they said, sorry, no. I was like, I've been to the toilet. I know you have a toilet. I said something to that vein, and they're like, oh, it's for staff only. I realized the world has stopped taking pity on me.
You just need to realize that you need to go to the toilet elsewhere.
Yeah. But like, nobody cares anymore. Like, back then it was like a kid, and like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now it's like, because my facial hair grew in real young.
Yeah, right. So as soon as that came in, bam.
Yeah, bam, you're an adult.
Do you remember the first time you were called a man?
No. My dad did that from a very early age.
Okay.
My dad was always like, he's a man.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Yeah, from like 10 or something.
Because mine was when I remember there was like a woman and her son there, and they were like, oh, let the man go in front of us. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
No, I was both really happy and also like, is it the wrinkles?
Yeah. How old are you?
I should probably about like 19 or something. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were kind of, So when
but I, unlike you, did not grow facial hair for a little while.
When did that happen?
Yeah, it took a bit of
solid
time.
Bid. When did you?
There was puberty hit me quite late.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was sometime during uni, to be honest.
Oh wow.
There's a real transition from first year Ash to second year Ash.
Is this why when I met your uni mate?
Yeah.
She said like he's not the same.
Yeah, he's just like complete. Yeah, literally, I grew up during uni.
Yeah.
And then I grew up again and again.
Yeah.
So I think I've had like 4 puberties now. Yeah.
Wow. I had some kids when I was no.
Sorry.
No.
Okay.
When I was like 13, some kids asked me to go into a shop and buy cigarettes for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was 13.
Okay.
I was like, I'm the same age. This isn't gonna work. Your plan is terrible.
Did it work?
I didn't try.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait, so these weren't kids you knew?
No.
Oh,
I was just like, I like.
You look trustworthy and
like a respectable.
Wasn't the age like 16 back then? Yeah. I think
was it?
It was for a long time. I remember it being 16,
Wow.
and I was like 14 or 15. I was like,
yeah,
they shouldn't let someone like me, near my age, buy cigarettes. That's real weird. But
I remember being in London and in Harrow, of all places, in front of the shopping centre, and somebody came up to my friend and said, "Can I nick a cigarette off you?" I gave him a cigarette, and he was like, "Oh, thanks, mate. I've just got out of prison. Been in there for the last 15 years." Lights the cigarette and just walks into the shopping centre. And we're like, "What? Oh, he doesn't know. Like he doesn't. Since he's been to prison, they've changed the law on smoking indoors. Last he remembers, you can smoke in pubs.
Everyone was doing it left, right, and centre. Do you remember that?
Not much. It was quite a culture shock when I went to Jordan and everybody was smoking indoors. It was very common.
Yeah.
Like inside shopping malls, there were ashtrays
everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I remember that. That's one of my earlier memories, like just going into a restaurant and it's just like the bar area being full of people just smoking.
Really?
Yeah. It was like a nice restaurant and this is just casual behavior.
Oh, wow.
You had to ask for the non-smoking table.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, real different.
What do you think of that law then? You've seen both sides?
Well, as a non-smoker, I'm loving it. Yeah. Because there's no... You used to go in and it would just be a waft of smoke. There's no good ventilation, right?
That's what I felt in Jordan.
Yeah.
It was like, and again, not some... I have no issue with the smell of smoke.
Yeah, but
quite familiar with it, if you will.
Yeah, but it's not... There's a difference between outdoors and indoors, right?
100%, yeah.
That's the... Yeah, it just doesn't... I don't know, but it's each their own. Yeah. But adulting...
Yeah, sorry, we kind of got sidetracked.
Back to the thing, yeah. It's tough. And like I said, it's a real shocker when you're left to it.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on, the best part of it is actually appreciating things that you took for granted when you were a kid. So for me, like sorting your own bills out, not understanding that you take that all for granted when you're a kid. Like, things are taken care for you.
Yeah.
And as you go on, you start to realize like, oh, like these are the costs that are involved in like sustaining it, and I now know what my parents have to go through, or why they used to complain about eating out in the week or whatever. You know, stuff like that. There's food at home. Whatever. Yeah. That's the real learning curve. But yeah, I think that's one of the best things, and I'm really glad. Yeah, I think everyone has to go through that at some point. Yeah.
For me, my parents, when we moved to this country, they didn't speak much English, so I was never responsible for paying the bills. I was very grateful, you know, growing up, always had a roof over my head and food on the table. But I was responsible. So I always saw the bills. Yeah. Right. And I would have to make the phone calls to pay with their money, of course. And it really hits different when it comes out of your bank account. I got to say, that's definitely something I'm not a huge fan of. But yeah, it's crazy. But it's very different now. I don't know how you feel about life in general now, but to me, everything just seems so goddamn complex. There's so many different things to factor in.
Compared to how it was for adults before?
For my parents, yeah. You said something incredibly profound, accidentally almost, I think.
Probably.
But I was... No, as in, like, you quite often come out with profound stuff, but I think this time you said it and then you realized the weight of what you just said. I was telling you that I'm really sad that I probably won't be driving my kids to school in a car like how I grew up. I'm going to be really sad that I don't get to have the same bonding experiences with my kids that my dad had with me. Yeah. And you said...
Sorry, just to touch on the car bit, that's because you assumed that cars will be autonomous in the future, right?
Yeah. Autonomous or electric or just in some way vastly different. And that's what that was. And like, you know, I had some of the best conversations with my dad stuck in traffic. Yeah. He used to live so far away, and it was genuinely like half an hour's worth of traffic because he had to go on the motorway. And I remember those quite vividly. Car journeys, you know, we were discussing with my granddad not so long ago, and that might not happen. You know, I won't be in the driver's seat. And you said to me, what makes you think, I think you said it like this, correct me if I'm wrong. What makes you think you're entitled to the same childhood? What makes you think your kids are entitled to the same childhood as you had? Because your dad didn't have the same childhood as you did. It blew my mind. I just thought of the biggest waves of changes from my granddad down to my dad, down to me, and then eventually, you know, hopefully, I don't know, to my kids, their childhood, how different that's going to be.
And I think it's always it's a common occurrence, right? Like, I'm sure your dad felt the same when he brought you up compared to how he was brought up. There's always that generational comparison. And I think it's happened since the beginning of time, probably. Yeah. It's probably more evident now because things are changing so dramatically. But why do we always think that we had things best and the way we did things were the best? I don't understand it.
Familiarity?
Potentially, yeah. We all think that we're adaptive to change. Yeah. Like, we you know, we're not a dinosaur. We know exactly how to adapt and change. We say it in the business all the time, right? Yeah. But there are things that we get comfortable with. You know, this is how things were done. Why do we need this new? Why do we need autonomous vehicles? Like, I love driving my car. Yeah. Yeah, but it's not the safest thing. You're not the safest driver.
Yeah, I know.
These are the things that we're not ready to hear.
And I'm not ready for it to change either. But like, I will have to. But sorry, just back on complexity. Do you ever feel that? You seemed quite taken aback when I said I feel like life's really complex right now.
Yeah, because I think things are getting easier. Hear me out. Before
people, I'm not ready
to call me out. Yeah. You know, the comments will say, "Yeah, but life's so much more expensive than it used to be." You know, you can't save for a house. All that stuff will come, and that is a completely different topic to where I'm going. Yeah, my thing is the ease of the way you can do things. So paying a bill, you just had an email from British Gas. Yeah, you can pay that bill online, or you can set up a direct debit.
That was actually for here, not for my house.
Yeah. Oh no.
So you can just go online and.
That's what we're doing. Offloading the bills again. We'll ignore that one. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, that bill you can pay online. It's super easy. They have smart meters installed, so you don't even need to go check your meter in most cases. The process is so swift. I'm not saying everything is easy, but things are a lot easier than they used to be. And the way you can compare this is go to another country. Yeah. Go to India, right? India is one of the most technology-driven countries in the world. Like, at the moment, you know, it's a hot spot for startups and innovation and all of that. Yeah. but the system sucks in a lot of ways. And people locally will say that. There's room for improvement. You go to your bank, you can't just submit online. Okay, some banks are coming up that are a bit more innovative, but traditionally you have to go into a branch. You have to submit your paperwork. We've been there 15 years ago. Things have evolved. Things haven't caught up yet, and they will. So it's basically a bit of a time machine into how things were. And, you know, if you want to change your address, you've got to go to the bank, submit your ID card, go with that. Yeah. Let's take meetings. We've had how many meetings today? We've had a meeting on the other side of the world. That would have had to wait so long. We would have had to have someone locally here. Life is easier.
It's interesting because you used the word to define difficulty, but you didn't actually go into that argument. Of course, we can talk about difficulty a little bit later on, but we both discussed complexity because I was very careful. I said complex, and you gave some very good examples of how it might not be complex.
Yeah.
Right, and of how simple it is. Sorry, you argued simple. I know you said easy, but I think
your
argument. Yeah. But to me, the reason why I think of complexity is because of the amount of technology that has been introduced into anything. It's kind of to counter your argument.
Mm-hmm. No, that's... Yeah.
And with that comes certain things like, I hate to be a one-string banjo, but like there's so many more things to pay for now. What that I mean by that is not like I need more money to afford it. Of course, that's a valid argument. But, you know, you got to go into... My dad was complaining about this, but if you drive into London... You know, if you drove into London maybe, 20, 25 years ago, there was probably no congestion charge. I don't know when that was introduced. Mm-hmm. Now there's a congestion charge, there's an ultra low emission zone charge, and I think there is a low emission zone charge that's being introduced into Manchester now as well. Or it's under review, which means it's probably going to be there. That's driving. Then there's speed cameras. There weren't speed cameras before, and then you might get caught speeding. Yep. And then there's so many rules and regulations and things that you have to sort of fall between. Yep. And then in terms of, what the world needs versus the career options that were out there were pretty aligned. People fell ill, they need doctors. People need to buy a house, there's realtors. People would get into legal disputes, they need lawyers. Yeah. Whereas now... we've delved into the wants of the world. And so people want to be entertained, so you create entertainers. People are consumed by entertainment, so you've got social media influencers, you've got... And then corporations have taken advantage of this and started leveraging that for advertising. Yeah. And so that's a career option, and that's what... It doesn't just affect the people who go into that career, it's the people consuming the media. So we're more influenced, we're more taxed, we're more under, we're under more legal constraints than ever. And just navigating that, in day-to-day life, I don't feel it. But every now and again, it catches up with me.
Yeah, you can't keep on top of it.
It just feels that way sometimes. Like, I'll... And my life is a little bit different. Like, like I said, I don't think in any way I offer financial support to my parents. But when it comes to the logistics of handling it, especially for like my dad, my dad's in his 70s, doesn't speak English, so I still sort of organize a lot of his like car insurance and stuff like that. And I've just been, the one thing that comes to mind is I've been overpaying for my internet for about 2 years now. Right. And I've just never found the time to sort it out. Yeah. I'm on a rolling contract. I could have subscribed for a year and gotten significant amounts.
Whereas before, there would have been one internet package. Yeah. Everyone pays pretty much the same thing. Easy come, easy go. You know what you're paying, you know what's going out. Whereas now there's too much complexity. Internet's a bit more complex.
It's kind of what I'm feeling.
So what I see, great summary, and I completely align and understand it. No, but great. It made perfect sense.
Okay.
But I didn't just see negatives, I saw positives there.
Ooh, go ahead.
So the negatives were complexity in terms of costings, red tape in terms of law, so much you have to think about. You've got to make sure you're treading, within the lines, and you're not jumping outside, or you're not accidentally going through a bus lane that you didn't know existed or whatever. Who would do that? Yeah, I know. Oh God, too many times. But yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah. But on the same token, a more complex world is more interesting. Ooh. Like the idea of living a life where there's only a number set professions, everyone kind of does one or the other. You'll kind of live in a similar not size house, but similar house in the similar locality, and there's very little you can do to spread your wings. You may have a certain skill set that you've not yet developed, but there's no room for it in this society.
Yeah.
Let's say kind of video editing, for example, that was not really a career 30 years ago, right? There were some parts of the career in the main few channels, but very limited roles.
Yeah.
Whereas now there's a copious amount. So I think a complex world leads to people being able to spread their wings and show their true talents. And it leads to more niches, more excitement, and I'm all for more complexity. And the negatives are, I think, worth it in the grand schemes of it all.
Very interesting. Yeah. What about the red tape of it all? Like, do you ever think that gets in the way of innovation? I've had this random thought one time when, the government clearly wants us to move towards electric cars. There was a lot of very positive incentives. Now we're seeing the other side. I feel like that's how things generally operate. I have some problem with it, but it's like, we'll encourage you to do it this way, and then we'll give you a space of time where you just do it. And then if you don't, we'll penalize you for it. So an electric car is a perfect example, right? A lot of tax incentives to buy one. Then there's not really much going on right now in the way of buying electric cars. And then you've got the ULEZ congestion charge and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know what? I dabble and change. So there's an ideology of libertarianism. I said that wrong. But essentially that's free market, free everything. So the idea that we want minimal government control or authority, like levers to, free markets where businesses can operate, and they will lead to efficiencies in the world and so on. And I used to go down that rabbit hole, and there's a lot that I do believe in there, that, companies and organizations should be left to their own devices, as you're saying, lead to more innovation. But there is always that concern that businesses left to their own devices won't do the best for society. Right. In all cases, they'll do the best for those.
That's a relatively fair argument.
Those who are their shareholders, not their stakeholders.
Right.
And so on. So, there's that concern. I mean, let's take the junk food market in America, for example. Yeah. That was left to its own devices, free market. And where did that go? Just pumping more and more junk food into society, cheapening the ingredients, moving from, I think it's cane sugar and Coca-Cola to fructose syrup and so on, cheap alternatives, which are far worse for you than cane sugar. These kind of decisions, Diet Coke coming out and having whatever ingredients it's got in it. Picking on one example there, but that's where I get concerned that free market doesn't always lead to the best things for people. And
this is true.
We need a bit of red tape. Yeah.
We do. Do you ever think it goes too far, though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's something that bothers me, and I'm sorry to pour salt on a wound, but like driving in London, recently when I was in London, it was just an observation, and then I spoke to our finance director who lives very close to London. All of Zone 1 is 20 miles an hour.
Right.
It's incredibly uncomfortable to drive through London.
Yeah.
Because it's all, you're just sat there going at 20. And the one thought I kept having in my head was, instead of increasing, like trying to protect everyone and reducing the speed limit, can we not find safer solutions to try and advance the speeds at which we can travel?
Do you mean autonomous cars?
I knew you were going to get me with that. It's quite hard to argue. It's a solid point. It's a solid point. But, why did we just stop at traffic lights? Is there not a better solution to that problem? Is there not teleportation gates that we can invent? Is there not bridges we can build? Is there not a way we can protect pedestrians and still do 50 in a city centre? It's
true, but until that technology comes, what do we do?
We lose a few people,
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, though. 30 is too quick for certain areas of London, and it's too slow for certain areas of London.
Listen.
But, yeah.
Do you think 70 miles an hour is quite a fast amount of speed? Like, do you think it's quite quick?
No, I think it's not for the motorway, no.
Yeah, like, I think people have it in their head that 70 is a very fast speed, but only because that's the highest you can legally go in the UK.
They were going to increase it to 80, though.
Were they?
Point. Yeah.
Hurry up with that.
No, I think someone came in and vetoed it.
Why?
No idea. I think it's the crash barriers weren't set for 70, 80 miles an hour.
I don't care about that, but I'm thinking more along the lines of, because they're trying to introduce speed limits into the autobahns, and I was very against it.
Right.
And then now I understand the logic. I don't like it, but I kind of understand it. What do you call pollution? Driving at that speed is...
Yeah.
Can we get into something, actually?
Yeah, go.
I'm really, there's a group of people I hate. They're Just Stop Oil protesters. I've been very vocal. I cannot stand them.
Okay.
However, they've been doing something that I think is really ironic, where they're just sitting in traffic in London and they're stopping cars that are idling and releasing emissions into the earth. Yeah. And they're causing that. Those cars could have been moving and not releasing. Yeah. Has no one seen that yet?
Yeah. There's a lot that they don't really think about.
There's a lot of irony in that group. Who, by the way, again, I must say, stand for good things. Let's pollute less. But you're doing it all wrong.
I don't know. I have my conspiracy theories on
Let's get into
Just Oil. No, a lot of things. Same with veganism protests and stuff. Yeah. There are genuine vegans out there who care and have good
folk.
incentive.
Love them.
But the ones that are protesting and funded, who are they being funded by?
Right.
These are the questions we're not asking. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, they're taking time during the week with no job. They're getting money from somewhere.
Right.
And
who do you think is funding Just Stop Oil then? Elon?
I can't say on camera.
Oh.
No, definitely not Elon. He's against ESG protesting. So ESG, economic, social... ESG, I'll let you know exactly what. Geopolitical, cool. I think it is. Yeah. They're the factors. This big movement is why funds are now investing in more sustainable things and all of that stuff.
Okay.
But I'm anti ESG because I think it's all virtue signaling and not genuinely fixing the root cause of 100%. Why we do that. And this big thing. I mean, let's take this. Tesla got voted less ESG friendly than the company that owns Louis Vuitton. What's that? LVMH? Yeah, LVMH. Sure. The second richest guy in the world.
Yeah.
They got voted more ESG friendly than Tesla.
Right, okay.
The company that produces luxury goods.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Moet to Louis Vuitton to Chanel.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, where is
child labor too? Like
potentially, but I think, definitely some of that, but overpricing items, which is fine. That's their business model, but don't call them ESG.
Right.
That's who are they serving?
They're not the good guys.
The rich are getting richer, and they're buying more Louis Vuitton, which are making their share price go up. No, this is there's something wrong there, and this is you look at the ESG funds, the things that are on there. I think ExxonMobil was on there as well. ExxonMobil, yeah, exactly. But if they do a bit of ESG stuff, then they
they're ranked well. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, so there's a lot of weird. It's very weird. Yeah.
I've just been finding it really ironic at the thing in terms of the things that they were targeting. And again, I think I told you about this, but a very fun story for me. And this is why I love Germans. Absolutely adore their mentality. The Germans have a law called the right to protest.
Okay.
And so a bunch of, I think Just Stop Oil or the German equivalent were protesting. So they went into a Porsche showroom and they glued their hands to the floor. And so Porsche and all its staff honored their right to protest.
Okay.
So they turned off the lights, they kept the air conditioning on, and they locked the doors and they went home. And the protesters were furious because they weren't provided a bowl to pee in. I think they defecated on themselves, and they were like, it's too cold, and like they begged the security guard to turn the aircon on. But the security guard was just like, I'm honoring your right to protest.
Yeah.
I'm not going to intervene. So they didn't use any brute force,
and they were still glued to the floor.
I mean, again, it needs to be made abundantly clear they glued themselves to the floor in protest. Nobody forced them to do this. They did that. They just didn't think ahead to bring something to piss in.
Oh no!
I know.
So not the smartest bunch, some of these protesters, but
no,
like you say, they're protesting for something fair.
Yeah,
I'm not trusting the people that aren't protesting.
Yeah. I don't like all of the under the table and like deals and shady stuff that happens. But again, it's things typically move in the right direction. And I think people are trying to force something that might not happen. Like there's a lot of things that people, Formula One doesn't do right. But and someone like Sebastian Vettel was fighting for a more economical sport and a more environmentally friendly sport. And people were giving him grief because he competes in a sport that emits so much.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He raised some very valid points. Like things that they can quite easily do that they should is like rearrange the calendar. They fly so much because they fly to like Australia, then to Europe, then to America, then back to Europe, and then like back to Canada rearrange that schedule, fly less, and you could reduce emissions. They have moved to hybrid engines now, and they're looking at, moving directions where they spend even less fuel and trying to be more efficient in ways and things like that. And, it's heading in the right direction. But then again, it's massively sponsored by oil companies and things like that. So I don't know. It's too messy for me to get involved in. But people with the same knowledge as me are going out there and acting like they have a PhD in sustainability and, going on their marches and protests and their screams.
I'm sure they've got less knowledge than what you have on this subject as well.
Well, I don't know. But are you saying you can get paid to protest?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I don't know where the money comes from.
What are you
and
doing
how.
this Saturday? Let's make some money, bro.
What, you want to go to the Porsche garage, Porsche dealership?
Yeah.
Honestly, the more you start thinking about it, the more you just realize everything is virtue signaling. Like you'll look at packaging and you'll see items and you'll turn it around and it'll say something about sustainability or that, and you just know that this is... Dude,
it's June. It's Pride Month. Look at every single company that has converted their logo into a rainbow, and it's crazy because, you're right. It's in... The reason behind it isn't to show support. It's to increase revenue.
Right.
It's because a gay person seeing the pride flag might go, this aligns with my value. I'll buy this over the person who isn't. Mm-hmm. And then you look into that business and you're like, they haven't actually done anything for that community.
And it's not just that they're trying to attract those that are from that community. They're trying to show to other people that, hey, we're all inclusive. We're all of this. And people buy into that, like you say. Yeah. They think, suddenly equality means something to this company. When, like you say, you look at the board of directors and you're like, I don't think this is quite...
Which one are you?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But too much of that going on, man.
I know.
But you don't get too caught up in it because you won't.
I know. It doesn't make me get caught up in it. It makes me think back to a lot of the stuff I've said and, a lot of the values I've stood for, and it makes me question them. I think it should. And I don't like previous versions of myself because I start to realize, actually, I was virtue signaling, in many past lives.
Yeah, we've all done it, man.
Yeah.
So what you're saying there is you've said things because they felt like the right things to say in the moment to make other people happy.
Not just said, but had values and had thoughts and had feelings that I thought at the time, it's kind of mad. I thought I was trying to stay on the right side of history, or that I was trying to be on the good guys team, but and try to make sure that I as a person was doing right by society. But in actual fact, what I was doing was making sure I was playing for the right team, for the winning team. And that comes across very often as virtue signaling, because to some extent it is.
Yeah.
And that's those ones where you're like struggling to get to sleep at midnight and you're like, oh my God, I said that in high school.
Yeah.
Can you believe those
it's
words?
One of those, right?
Yeah. That's crazy.
All right. There's a lot to unpack there, but overall, adulting is good.
And hard, but worth it, is what I got from you.
But I did ask you a question, you and Ollie a question last week, right? Or 2 weeks ago. I said, would you rather be 25 again? No, was it 25 again?
Yeah.
And...
It wasn't that long ago for me.
Maybe to be fair. No, you're getting on as well. All right. Would you rather be 21 again, but start fresh, but you know what you know today?
Okay.
Or are you happy where you are at the moment?
Ooh, so it's a take it or leave it thing. Like I could just continue living like this, or I could go back then. Ooh. Do you know what the price of Bitcoin was when I was 21?
Yeah, that's true. All right, you don't know things like that.
Oh, okay. So wait, hold on. Because the theme of that is I know something to my massive advantage.
No, you know the grit it took, and you know the efforts it took, but you don't know like secrets to the way the markets will go and stuff like that, and how business will pan out.
So what's my options then? Do it or kill myself?
No, would you buy youth again?
Would I buy youth again?
I'm just trying to know what the price of youth is.
Do you know what? It's too much because there's no guarantee I'll end up back here, right?
That's true.
So I value being here enough to go, I don't want to risk it.
I
might end up somewhere worse. Hell, I might even end up somewhere better. But I don't want to end up somewhere different to where I am right now.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
What about you? Would you?
No, I don't think so. But if I was 80, ask me that question again, and maybe it'd be a bit different.
I totally want to do it all over again. Yeah.
But then maybe there you're like, but I love the memories I've had and all that stuff. So
would you lose those?
I don't know. I haven't quite come up with that.
Because I think what you're saying there is, right now, for me, I'm 27, 6 or 7 years worth of life. Again, that's the benefit, right? Because I'm not learning any trade secrets. I can't go and buy Bitcoin or invest in Apple or Tesla. All I'm gaining here is another 6 years of my life in the prime of my life. Because I'm way past that now. And to me, that's not worth it because I might risk not being here. But if you're 80, then you've got all of those memories and you're getting all of that life again.
Amazing. One final point. What's your advice to 21-year-old you?
Oh, no, I had something to say after this.
Okay.
But,
yeah.
No, just something funny I heard.
Okay.
What's my advice to 21? It's the same advice you said when I asked you a similar question a few years ago. Just relax. It's the same. I would say the same thing as the punchline of a Tom Segura. This will all make sense. And then the next 7 years won't.
I love that. It all makes sense because it always does make sense in the end at some point.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't yet, it's not the end. Yeah. There we go.
Have you got any advice to 20-year-old Ash?
I mean, that was great advice by older Ash, if he gave that, if he genuinely did.
Yeah, because that was your answer, technically.
Come on, let's give some fresh advice. What was the funny thing you were going to say?
Oh, yeah. So it was... if you were teleported in time, transported in time, back to like the 50s, do you think you would be like the hot shit around town, inventing stuff left, right, and center?
What, knowing what I know now?
Yeah.
I like to think I was, but probably not.
No, that's what I mean.
Because there's a lot of things that I just missed out. I'll be like, hey, I can design you the best Shopify website. Oh, I don't know. You'll be like that. And then, oh, wait. You don't have computers?
I genuinely saw this on Instagram and someone was like, do you really think you could go back and like be the hot shit? And he was like, yeah. And he goes, what would you do? And he goes, I don't know, invent the iPhone. And he goes, all right, go on then. How does an iPhone work? And he goes, and he just stumbled on it. And he goes, well, I'd like invent a toaster. He like goes down, like, I'll invent a toaster. And he goes, how does a toaster work? And he goes, it goes into the wall and then you toast it. And then you're like, but how does that, what does that even mean?
That's the funniest thing.
So everyone thinks they would just fly back in time.
It takes you to the Iron Man in a cave thing. Like, what would you do in a cave?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Start fire with what? A lighter. Like, what am I? I'd be banging wet rocks going, why isn't this working?
Yeah. So when we think we're all intelligent, we haven't got nothing on our ancestors.
No, we're not that advanced. We leverage advanced technology from people way smarter than us. But actually us, take us back to that time.
I reckon Elon wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, his success is on the shoulders of a lot of prior research.
Yeah.
His company's called Tesla.
I'm sure he's smart enough to do a Tony Stark in a cave thing. But
but not build what he's built right now.
No.
Also, wildly different point. Do you know hamburgers are called hamburgers because of their place of origin, Hamburg in Germany?
I did not know that.
Oh, I thought it was because back in the day, they used to make burgers out of ham.
Oh.
That's what I thought. I don't know.
That was very random.
I know. It just came to me. I heard. I read it somewhere online.
So what, burger came from Hamburg? The idea of Hamburg?
No, a hamburger.
Yeah, but did the word burger?
I don't know.
Because surely there wasn't just a coincidence that hamburger...
This was a tweet, dude. I didn't...
Oh, yeah, right.
This is not my discovery.
From absolutely someone random. That guy is spreading rumors. Yeah. I'm going to fact check that.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't trust it. Right. But yeah, that was a good episode.
I genuinely enjoyed this conversation.
As always, good luck adulting.
Thanks, man. Right back at
you. You.
And to the audience, good luck adulting.
Yeah, you're all going to get older.
Yeah.
Even...
Majority of our audience is our age, so...
Yeah, that's fantastic and that's really good to hear. But if anyone is younger than us out there, you will get old too. So enjoy it.
Yeah. Your knees will start clicking.
Do you know that's how I get through life? You know when you're when you see like a 19-year-old, like 19-year-olds like partying in town?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm kind of jealous, but you're going to get old. So like, I don't care. You'll be old. You'll have back problems.
I love the idea of, because your stag's coming up in Valencia and it's going to get messy. And I love the idea of just you stumbling home from like a club at your stag and just looking for young people and just gonna be like, you're gonna feel this pain one day. And they're just there like, what? What pain? What are you talking about?
What? What a crazy man.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in a nice way, but I'm just like, you're going to get old.
Yeah.
Even when I'm 80, I'll look at young people like, you're going to get old.
You're going to die. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
As always, we offer the solidest of advice to young people. So,
sorry, this conversation has gone way too long, but that really gets to me. Like, we could be 80 and there's going to be like 20-year-olds that look like around our age at the moment, just like existing in the future.
Yeah.
That really hurt me. That just like, they're like 60 years younger than me.
Oh, dude. So
Do you know what I mean?
When we're 80, we're going to be watching a podcast going, they remind us.
Yeah, there's going to be people that look
very
like
similar
our generation,
to us.
right?
Yeah.
And that really is annoying because it's like, no, you should have, like, we were the last.
Oh, dude. I'm still baffled at people born after the year 2000.
Yeah.
I thought people stopped having sex. I really did. Or like,
yeah, probably, but yeah.
Yeah. Or, you know, condoms.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What are people doing? What went after the year 2000?
Yeah.
I just miss being like, oh, people look at my date of birth like, oh, you're so young. Now I look at other people's date of birth like, wow, everyone we're employing, like, I assume they're a bit older than me or someone, and they're all,
Yeah. Young people that we've employed are getting older. Not old, of course. We can't say that because they're...
But they're getting older.
They're getting older. They're no longer, like...
They're no longer kids.
I look at them as adults now. And when we employed them, I was just like, you're a kid.
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a scary one, but we'll bring this conversation back at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching, please don't forget to subscribe, like, do what you can do. Subscribers on YouTube, Spotify.
Follow. We got like 50 followers.
We got 50
mate. 50. On Spotify. And YouTube is like 64.
There we go. The number's creeping up.
It's over 100.
And one day it's going to blow through the roof. So make sure you're there before it does so that you cash in on that early subscriber list.
Are we paying them?
Yeah, probably. You never know.
47.
But make sure you do leave a comment as well. It really mean the world to us. So cheers. Thank you.